Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. As I said a few weeks ago, we just finished building a wooden house and I would like to share this experience with you. So if you are thinking of maybe building a house or building a shed or a garden room or even building a wall like a partition wall, I think will be a good idea to watch these videos because there will be some good informations. So this is episode 2. In this episode we gonna talk about the walls. I'm gonna show you two ways of building a wall. It doesn't matter if it's an internal wall or an external wall. um, I will show you two ways of building these walls. So the first method will be to build the wall standing down. So basically we are building the wall down and then we're just gonna lift it up and install it. As you can see here, we laid the timber on the floor, not exactly on the floor. We put some timbers before and then we laid these studs and everything on top of it. Because the foundation obviously is not very level, um, it's a bit easier this way. I'm just gonna take the camera now in a minute and I will show you how we mark the timber, because before you start building a wall you need to know the layout of the wall. So I'm gonna show you now. The left hand side, as you can see here next to my nail gun, this will be the side that is going into the corner. Yeah, so from that we just mark where our window will be. You see there's an X there and there the other stud is there. Now the last stud is center, so that's mean this is where our OSB will end, and we're probably gonna have two more studs in between the window and the last stud. Probably the same here, there will be two more studs between the corner and the window, and we're just keeping our center line. So basically our OSB will have to join um, onto a stud. So when it comes to mark your top and bottom plates, obviously for the position of the studs, you have to do a good job in here and you have to mark this exact, and you have to transfer this from top to bottom, um, very precise. Um, People will have different methods of marking this and follow the marks. You just have to do whatever works for you and whatever you think is obviously easier. Now you see me obviously using a nail gun and just nailing the studs in between the top and bottom plates. So it's very important to check your timber for how straight it is. So check for crown and always try to keep the crown on one side if possible. You see us using nail guns because obviously we have them. We are in a trade, so first fix nail guns is something that we use quite often. But if you don't have one, then you can obviously use normal nails or you can use screws. Obviously, nailing by hand or using screws will obviously take a lot more time than using a nail gun. So after we nailed all the vertical studs, we just lifted the wall up. We set it in the position in this corner, and we are going to check for level, and we are going to secure this wall in the position. So basically in the bottom plate and into the corner. I probably mentioned in my first video that all the corners will have a 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches post in between the walls. So all the walls will be screwed and nailed into this 10 by 10 centimeters post. We'll have couple of in the middle of the house that will go from the actually uh, bottom plate up into the roof to support the ridge for the roof. But we'll talk about later on when we're gonna come to that part. So we haven't built the window structure in here because I mean we haven't built it on the actually floor. I would like to build it on the in the position, because the wood is not great, it's not very straight, it's bent, is um, twisted. So I like to build it in the position. So you can see us on these images, we just mark the lines where the bottom of the window will be and where the top of the window will be. So I just cut the left and the right hand studs. So I attach these two studs onto the left and onto the right of the long studs, and then I'm just gonna place two pieces of timber on top of them, as you can see here, and I will nail them into those two, and I will nail them from the side as well. So after that I just added another stud on the left and another stud on the right, nailed that in, and then I just placed another two timbers on top of that. So basically I replicated the bottom also at the top. Obviously when you are planning to do this, you just have to count for all these timbers, and you have to make sure that you have enough space to install your window. Now, depending where this window is and depending what you're gonna have around on the window sills, you might have to leave a bit more room, because let's say if you're gonna have a bathroom and you want that reveal to be tiled, you have to leave a bit of a space. If you're gonna do this too tight and your window is tight against these timbers, and then you have your plasterboard, you might not have enough room for tiles, depending of obviously what kind of hinges you will have on a window and so on. So this is obviously a point where you will have to think a bit in advance of what you're gonna have and how you're gonna do it. So after we did the top, bottom, and the sides of the windows of the opening, we're just gonna go ahead and put vertical studs under the window and obviously on top of the window, just making sure that we are keeping our center for the OSB. In this case, the OSB it's 125 centimeters wide, so our studs will have to have a stud at every 125 centimeters. So this is the first option of the wall. Now I'm just going to show you the second one. Okay, so this is the second wall that I'm gonna show you how we built it. This will be built in the position, so we're not gonna build it down and lift it in the position, we're just gonna build it in the position. This is a good idea if your floor is not level or straight. You will have to obviously build it in the position. I did explain more about this in my previous video, so let me show you how we going to do this. So you can see me here installing the bottom plate. This is obviously the second bottom plate that we have, because I told you we're having two bottom plates and two top plates. So you saw me doing the bottom plate. Now you see me measuring for the left hand stud, and we're going to measure for the right hand stud, and we are going to install this in the position as well. Once that we're going to have this installed, you will see we're just going to put the top plate in the position, and we're going to make sure that that top plate is nice and straight and level, and then we are going to cut every stud individually. In these images you can see the two posts, one on my left and one you can see it at the back. Those 10 by 10 centimeter posts are 6 meter tall, so 6 meter high. So obviously they run from the bottom plate up, and we are going to place the ridge onto this posts. This way these posts will be obviously inside the walls, so we're gonna build walls around them, so I think they will be very nice and strong. You can see me here putting the top plate. I'm just gonna obviously fix this, and I'll make sure that it's straight. Okay, so after we install the top plate and we make sure that is nice and level, I will going to mark for the studs, and we're going to cut them individually. Now I'm gonna place one towards the middle just to make sure that that board doesn't sink. It shouldn't, because it's a small distance, and the timber is obviously dry, so it shouldn't sink. But I will place my first stud obviously towards the center of the wall. So when I'm happy with the position, I'm just gonna nail this in. At the bottom I will do from the side, and at the top I'll go and put 3 nails from the top plate. In here you can see me placing the second stud. Is 125 centimeters from the other one. So basically the first 2 studs that I installed are the studs that will take the OSB. So after that I'm just gonna measure and split the distance, and I will have 2 more studs in between these 2 studs, and on the left hand side will be the doorway. So when you are doing these studs, it's always a good idea to have the same amount of space in between the studs. Even if you do, let's say, a floor and you laying the joist, but we'll talk about that later. Even if you do vertical studs, even if you do horizontal timbers, whatever you're gonna do, it's easy to have everything at the same distance. So basically, when you're gonna go to your chop saw or whatever tool you're gonna use and cut your noggins, it will make a huge difference if you have to cut, let's say, 30 noggins that are the same, let's say 40 centimeters, and it will be different if you have to cut 30 noggins that are all different from each other. If everything is like 40 centimeters, let's say, you can put a stop block and you can cut everything the same. Will be nice and quick and accurate. But if you have to measure and mark and measure and mark and measure and mark and cut different measurements, that obviously will take you longer time. So we always try to obviously improve. I find that improving never ends. I don't think we ever gonna reach a point where we can say, well, nothing can be improved, especially in the building industry. So we always like to improve these kind of things. So after all the vertical studs are in the position, all we have left to do is to create the opening for the door and to install all the noggings. So we just have to measure the height and make sure that our door and door frame will fit. Put this horizontal timber, a couple of more studs on the top, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be 2 more videos. One will be about the floor joist and flooring, and the second one will be and obviously at the same time will be video number 4, will be about the roof installation. So if you don't want to lose any of this, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like the video. So this will be everything from now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time with my next video. Goodbye.